Well, I have Kat Almanzar here, and I'm super excited. We're going to be going through the Kat Almanzar story, which is part of the Master Your Inner Game book. And you have a pretty fascinating story. Just actually, a lot of things happened all at once for you. So you start out by talking about that you kind of had the best 2 years and then the worst 2 years, all less a 4 year period. And so it starts with you're kind of in this peak of happiness, and the phone rings. So what happened with that phone call? How did
Yes.
it turn?
Um, I was at work and I received a phone call, and I usually don't answer my phone while I'm at work, but something told me to answer it. Um, and at the end of the phone was a policeman asking, um, "Am I aware that my daughter has been harmed?" And I nearly dropped. I was up on my desk, but I nearly fell out of my chair
Mm,
because I just couldn't imagine what was happening.
okay.
Um, and that day, my life changed forever.
Mm. So what happened? What was it that happened to her?
She was been going through abuse
Mm,
for several years, and she finally came out. Um, really started really young. She was um, 12 at that time, but it was a span of years.
mm,
And she just came out that day for some reason.
mm,
She found power to come out and not live in that fear or silence anymore.
mm.
And she told the school, and the school had called the police, and the police called me.
Okay. So you were just pretty devastated at that point
Yes.
that
Yeah.
this had happened to your daughter. And
Mhm.
so then what happened from there?
Um, the first thing I did was went to her and talked to her, and we went straight to get help immediately
Mm-hmm.
to see what's happening. And then from there, I made sure that we did what we could to help her out, and we um, fought for justice.
Mm-hmm. So you, as in you and your family, your husband at the time,
Yes,
you had another child at that time as well. So,
yes. So he's 2 years younger, a boy.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So, you said you got her justice. Did justice happen? Did this?
Not immediately. It took about a year for the process, but the person is in jail. And
Okay. And so, how did that affect once justice was served? Did that
Mhm.
help things, or did it not?
It did for us, but it basically broke the family
Mm,
because unfortunately, it was a family member,
mm,
um, and I was so proud of her to speak up and um, to share, to be able to be strong and share and fight for what's
yeah.
right.
Yeah. So you were a big part of that. Standing up for helping her stand up and
Yes.
bridge
Yeah.
that gap when she was feeling very vulnerable.
Mhm. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you have a pretty strong family overall.
I do. Yes, we're very close.
Okay. So you this is the first hit. Okay. So
Mhm.
if that's enough, okay, for a family to go through.
Right.
And then ultimately you divorced. You
Yes, we were already going through a lot before it happened. So I think that even added more to it. And um, eventually we decided, going through when we were at court, we were already separated,
Mhm.
but we still stuck together to fight justice for our daughter.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Okay, so things started settling down, or you got that kind of behind you, or whatever.
Hmm.
And then your grandma got really ill. So you went.
Yes, yes. So we fought for justice. That was spring, and then by summertime, I received a call that. So I grew up in the Philippines, and I grew up with my grandma, who raised me, and received a call that she was ill. I mean, she was already, in almost in her 80s. I knew it was happening, but I kept putting off visiting her every year, and I went ahead and bought that ticket and flew there. And then she passed away the day after I came there.
Wow. So that's pretty amazing. So it's almost like she was, you said that before we talked, like she was waiting for you to get there and then she passed.
Yes.
So that was kind of a happy, sad thing because you were sad, I'm sure. I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it just is.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this person, I would not be who I am because of her. I mean, she instilled so many things in me, and I strive to be like her. She was strong, very well respected. She was an entrepreneur, and I watched her.
Wow.
Waking up early in the morning, all the way to midnight, working to provide for her family. And so I learned a few things from her. I was selling in the Philippines when I was 7 years old, ice candy for, I don't know, maybe it's like equivalent to $1. So
Wow.
I learned entrepreneurship at a young age. And
I guess so, 7. Oh my goodness. And you're actually making money.
Right. $1.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, so you owe a lot to her as far as your strength and that. So I want to dive in now because then things turned even worse. So, I mean, or is it worse? I don't know.
Right.
The big crux of the story is we're about to talk about. And you had kind of a little bit of an inkling, you said, back. And tell us the time frame here, because you got back from Thailand. Philippines, I'm sorry. And then what was the timeline?
So within, there's a time difference. I think I was lacking sleep. I came back and then I had a migraine that weekend.
That's soon.
But it was back to school as well. So I was busy with, school shopping and getting things done before school start. I went back to work that Monday, and an incident was I forgot where I parked. And but with all the
time.
yeah, right. So I'm like, okay, this is normal, and everyone, at work is very helpful, and they're like, you're just stressed out, just need to take it slowly. So I'm thinking that's what the case
sure
was. But then the following day, the next morning, I knew something was wrong with me, because there were certain things I couldn't control as far as thinking. Very interesting, because I'm aware of it, but yet I couldn't control it.
Like what? Like what were you thinking that felt weird?
So the first thing I did when I went to work was go for coffee with my friend. And as we were walking, this is crazy. As I'm describing this, but I could see someone flying. And I wanted to tell my friend, but I thought, okay, she's going to think I'm crazy.
Wow.
But I was basically hallucinating. And I wanted to tell her something is wrong with me, because I'm seeing things and things that I can't control.
Okay. So did you talk to her, or did you just kind of go on with your day? And
I went on with my day. I just told him that I was basically not feeling well. But then by noon, I thought I was going through an emotional breakdown. So I was basically sitting in the women's bathroom crying. And I had called my other friend and I said, you need to come help me out, because I think I'm losing it.
How scary.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was basically, one of the things that happened was I was singing or rapping, things that there were bizarre things coming out from my mouth. And then by that afternoon, my employer thought it was time to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
I won't.
So again, your things are coming out of your mouth and you can control them. And
Yes.
yet you're sitting there witnessing, almost probably like looking at yourself like, oh my God,
Right.
it's like, so,
Why? Yeah,
but I can't control it. And
exactly.
things are coming out of my mouth, but it was just all random. And so you went to the hospital,
Hmm.
and what did they discover?
So it was so intense. I was waiting in the waiting room, and the TV was speaking to me. I will never forget that. And as if everyone was looking at me in the lobby.
Okay.
And I don't know if this really happened, but I had imagined going to the bathroom, coming out, and I can hear the speaker, basically the security guard looking for me because I escaped or something. But yet I found myself standing in front of the bathroom and no one's coming after me.
Sounds like a living nightmare. I mean, literally, it's like something that you would have a dream or something.
Yes.
A bad dream, but you actually were living it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then finally, the nurse, when I was in, and she was asking me questions, basic questions like my name, where do I work, what did I have to eat last? It's like basic things. I knew the answer, but I was giving her the wrong answer. It was such a bizarre feeling, and I was trying to pull it out from me to give her the right answer, but
your brain is just like doing something else. So you were like,
yes,
it and trying to speak it, and then something else would come out wrong.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So what did they determine?
Well, I don't know what happened within after 15 minutes after that. I just knew that I heard that I kicked the nurse, and then I was in a stretcher and they brought me somewhere else. I can remember being in the last thing I remember was I was in the ambulance closing my eyes and I see the lights, and then I blacked out from there.
Wow.
And then I woke up 3 months. Well, yeah, 3 months later.
Well, for 3 months, you lost 2 months of your life.
Yes.
So you said when we talked before, you said you weren't in a coma, but the state that you were in for that 3 months.
Yes. So the whole time I thought I was dreaming. I had this really long dream, and in my dream, basically I was trying to escape. I felt like I was in a maze, but yet I couldn't get out of it. There was other things that I was dreaming of. I was another person as well. And then something really, I don't know, until this day, I can't really describe it. I don't know if it was my angel or if it was God, but I would go down the stairs and I see bricks. The bricks really stood out to me. And the person would say, you need to go back up. You can't go back down here.
Not yet.
I can't. And but I was so tired. I'm like, I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And I did this 3 times. I went back and forth, and person kept telling me to go back up. And I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's real, if it happened.
Yeah.
I was in that stage.
Okay. What do you think that meant, to go back up?
I don't know, that it's not my time yet.
So do you think you were on the verge of dying and it was like not your time, go back up the stairs?
Go back up. But I don't know. It was like literal, like I'm going down the stairs.
Right, but literally stairs, right, sure. Wow, okay. And so when you woke up, did you realize that you'd lost a lot of time? How did you know how long?
I did not know. I opened my eyes and I was surrounded by family. And they're like, oh, wow. They were not aware yet that, I wasn't fully myself, but I was better than before, because before I was not comprehending, or I was speaking to other things. But I think they knew that I was myself when I started asking where's my kids, and
Okay. Okay.
I looked at the date, I mean the
Mhm.
board,
Mhm.
and I looked at the date and I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah. Wow.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And I was scared because I didn't know what had happened in the.
No, by then, so what that ultimately happened, if I'm understanding, is that you had some sort of inflammation in your brain, is
Yes,
basically, and they don't know why, but there's some
right.
inflammation. And so by then the doctors kind of knew that. They would have taken scans and known that there was some
Hmm.
inflammation or whatever. But probably didn't know the extent of the damage. So how much damage was there?
Well, they did the scans, and there's like several diagnoses, but
Mhm.
it wasn't the exact. Um, my brain was not damaged, but yet um, my own antibodies was
Mhm.
attacking it, and so that's why it inflamed. But
Okay.
I mean, they have done testing afterwards, and there's just no explanation on why I went through what I went through, and
Yeah.
I mean, I still had to go through rehab and um, healing for the
Yeah.
next 3 months after that. I had
Right.
to learn how to walk, talk, speak,
Wow.
um, pretty much, and drive, cook, basically the basic things I had to relearn again before I can go back home.
Hmm. Hmm. So how long you were in the hospital for three months?
I was, yes. And then I was able to leave within 3 weeks after waking up.
Hmm.
And but
Wow.
I had to go back. Pretty
Mhm.
much I had physical,
Right.
occupational, like 3 times a week.
So is there any permanent damage? Is this like all behind you, or is there
It
anything?
is all behind me.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, I, it's a miracle.
Yeah.
Um, it scares me from time to time, if it might come back. But
Yeah. Sure.
I think I'm fully aware now of the
Mhm.
things that I need to do.
Yeah. Yeah. If you lose your car, you're probably like double
Mhm.
now.
Yes, yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. Oh my word. Okay. So I was amazed actually. I'm going to ask you, but just
Mhm.
how long it's been since this all happened and where you are today.
It's going to be 2 years, August 31st. August 31st is the day when I first went to the
So does
hospital.
that kind of strike you? Like I just thought of this, but like there was 2 years of good and
I know, right?
of bad, and now it's been 2 years. So
Yeah.
expect something at the end of this 2 year. I mean, I'm just wondering, like, do you kind of like think, okay, this is the 2 year mark?
Yes, it's amazing. And I can't believe it's almost two
Yeah.
years. I feel like I've done more in my life in this
Mhm.
past 2 years
Yeah.
after coming back than I've ever did, in my whole life. And I get the same feedback from people. There's just something, it's unfortunate that sometimes some bad things have to
Mhm.
happen in able for you to um, wake up and see that life's too short, and you know
Mhm.
it's best to live it now.
So do you, is that what would you really believe now? I mean, you really live that now, the
I do. I
it
mean,
is could be your
yes,
last sort of thing.
I
So
do.
totally.
um yeah, I live, I totally change the way I view life. It's I've never felt better
Mhm.
in my life ever, of now. And yeah.
So how is it different? Tell me, like, what exactly is different when you wake up in the morning? How is it different now than before?
um I always plan. I mean, I'm still a planner, but
Mhm.
we have these goals of 5 years, 10 years, where I'm gonna see myself. I still have that, but it's not concrete.
Mhm.
I live life every day because you just never know what's gonna happen. I make sure I have my time with my kids. They're
Mhm.
my number one priority. I think the main thing that I learned from this is, because I went through divorce as well,
Mhm.
um, after or during the time that I was fighting for my daughter's justice. I mean, it was all at the same time. One of the main things that I learned is loving myself first, and that's one thing that I never focused on, because if you don't love yourself first, you can't give.
Mhm.
And I focused on loving myself, and then now I'm able to give more to the people that
So,
I
like self-care, or what, when you say loving yourself,
love.
what does that look like?
Um, Physically, I started kickboxing within
Wow.
4 months after my rehab, which was crazy. I mean, I had the okay from the doctor, but that has helped me with confidence, and also I lost about 25 pounds after
Mhm.
that, and I've gained strength from it.
Mhm.
There's a lot more um, to it than just being strong and knowing how to protect myself. There's a lot of
Mhm.
elements to it, but the confidence part was a huge factor.
Mhm.
But just giving myself that time to heal myself mentally and physically is part of loving myself.
I get it. So, yeah, so just I'm going to lead into now because you really do help people overcome.
Hmm.
Now, you're a transformational life coach. Am I saying that right?
Correct.
And so you want to talk to us a little bit about how this period in your life had impacted you to the point that you changed your whole career
Hmm.
now, and how serves your clients.
Yes. So, it kind of just happened organically. I was sharing my stories. So my background's in social media. That was my career, and I was sharing bits and pieces of my story from here and there. And then I started connecting with people around the world who I didn't even know, and they would send me messages about how I have helped them, that they just needed that message that day. And so, writing and sharing my story really helped me. It heals me.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, okay, this is a great use to, not only I'm healing, I'm helping others as well. But then
Yeah.
just kind of evolved from there. And at the beginning of this year of 2018, I decided I am going to um, start coaching women, and decided to leave my corporate job,
Mm-hmm.
my passion.
Wow. So, the people that are drawn to you, is it mostly people that have had trauma, some kind of physical trauma, or
Mhm.
like a variety of different kind of people drawn to you? What do you find
Yeah,
people that
mostly women, and it's mostly people who been through a toxic relationship,
Mhm.
trauma, abused, and just looking for that empowerment
Mhm.
um, when you're in the midst of it and you can't find hope. You just need someone to help you get through that.
Okay, so would they be at the tail end of that, or through it, or at what point, or does it matter?
Some are, majority are at the end tail of it, but some are in the midst of it as well.
Okay, great. Not great, but I mean great that you're
Mhm.
of them. And so this experience really turned things, because you were doing this whole social media guru.
Mhm.
Now you're actually branching out into your own business to help people, and you're writing another book. So in addition to Master Your Inner Game story that you're submitting for that book, you actually writing another story. Is it the same story in expanded version, or?
Correct. So this is my whole story for the whole 2 years um,
Hmm,
that happened in more detail.
okay, awesome. All right. Well, I think I don't have any other questions. Is there anything that I didn't ask that you'd like to share, like from your heart, like as far as this whole situation, your circumstances and.
Yes, I do. So I always go back to a colleague of mine who shared this with me when I was in the middle of this chaos. And she told me that you're going to look back at this, a year from now, a couple years from now, and see that it's just a little, piece of your life, and you've conquered it. And at
Mhm.
that time when she told me that, I'm like, I can't see it. I was so lost, and I just was taking it day by day.
Right.
And there was, I couldn't see it. But her words, stuck with me. And I always go back to that, looking at it. And I'm glad she told me that, because, I mean, she went through something similar, but, for someone to know what I was going through really helped. I go back to that, and I want to share that with others as well. So if they're going through the hardest part of their life, that they can conquer anything that they put their minds into. Anything is possible.
Well, you kind of show that too. I'm imagining that people that are drawn to you, that you become their strength in a sense while they're feeling vulnerable, because they can look at your situation and go, well, she got through this, so I can too. And you're that person that's kind of bridging that gap, I would imagine.
Exactly. Yeah. And I want to be that. I want to empower women to transform their pain into power.
Okay. Well, that's just beautiful. Thank you so much. You have a free gift for us. You want to share a little bit about that and how people can connect with you?
Yes. So the free gift is a 30-minute call, free 30-minute call with me.
Nice.
And they can email me at catalmanzor@gmail.com.
Okay. And we'll probably have your name printed up here. You want to go ahead and spell it for them, Cat Almanzor?
Sure. CATALMANZOR, and it's She Heals.
Is that like / She Heals?
All in one word.
All one word. Oh, so Cat Almanzor, She Heals, all one word.com.
At gmail.com.
Gmail.com. Okay, got it. If they email you, you'll get in contact with them on how they can meet up with you.
Exactly.
Okay, that is great. What an amazing offer. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Thank you for this.
When you need someone to talk to and to work through things with, can just email you. So that's amazing.
Yes.
All right, well, thank you for your story and your vulnerability. I mean, a lot of these things are very personal, and you've come through it, and so that's amazing. And it's just going to be so amazing to see what happens next in your life.
Very excited.
You're on a good roll here.
Yes.
All right. Have a good one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.